committee to order. The chair is running a few minutes late, so I'm happy to jump in on her behalf. Are there any corrections to the minutes of last meeting? Seeing none, the minutes are approved. We have a couple items on our agenda today, so I'd like to start with 1A. This is another project from our capital improvement plan. Most of us have been briefed, so I appreciate the time that we've taken to get everybody informed coming into today's meeting. So this is a resolution calling for a public hearing in connection with improvements at the Oak Orchard wastewater treatment plant. This has to deal with municipal build-out and totally separate from industrial wastewater use, correct?
Yes.
So I'd like to turn it over to Odine and Sydney.
Thank you. And it's our purpose today to share a little bit about this request, which is correctly about the expansion and upgrade of the municipal plant at Oak Orchard. So this is an existing facility. It was built in 1981, so 40 plus years have gone by. This project is strictly about expanding and increasing capacity at that plant. And that increase of capacity is to accommodate the residential and commercial growth in the area that we're already experiencing, and obviously we anticipate more. The plant was built to accommodate 10 million gallons per day of flow. It is actually today at about 6.7 capacity MGD. With the expansion and upgrade, it will take the plant to 15 million gallons per day, and at peak flow 25 MGD, which we think is adequate to handle all potential growth in the area. This upgrade is needed to not only accommodate capacity, but also to update aging infrastructure. Again, the plant's over 40 years old. The one thing we will say, though, is the sanitary wastewater flow from the Micron project, which is obviously important to the area, that sanitary flow does go into the municipal plant. That's your sinks, your showers, your toilets. That's true of any commercial or residential use. So that part of the flow will come from Micron. And we are anticipating working with them up to about 2.6 MGD. That will be by the end of phase one. Phase one is when there's a full build out of Fab 2. And they will be a regular sanitary customer, just like everybody else.
And could you elaborate on what that means from a financial standpoint?
Sure. So they are going to pay a sanitary municipal facility rate, just like any other business going into an area that is going to flow sanitary waste to one of our treatment facilities. So they are a customer on that side, the municipal side, just like everybody else who uses the municipal system. So that's really important to understand, that they are a customer on the municipal side of the facility.
Follow up on that.
Yes.
Wait, sorry. The sewer usage is based on water usage, right? So are they going to have an industrial inlet and a municipal, or not municipal?
So
Does that make sense?
you're thinking from the rate that is set for the municipal side is based on units, correct? Is that what you're talking about?
Right?
Yeah.
It's accurate, right?
Yeah.
So are they going to have two different lines? I don't know.
So I'm going to let Christy jump in a little bit here. Obviously, that's a little bit different for them when you talk about units in, units out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so on the municipal side, they will be normal customers sort of based on the units. Like right now, our one unit is up to 85,000 gallons. So based on that 2.6 volume, they will be a large user assigned multiple units to then pay into the rate based on that.
but because they're gonna have such a large industrial intake as well, is it just gonna
The
be?
industrial come out for a different,
Right.
pipe.
Right.
So-
Yeah, so the water coming in is gonna come in differently though. Like, I know that the sewer is gonna be different, but the water in is gonna be different as well,
Water into the treatment plant?
into the system.
So
Yeah, whatever it is,
they'll be
into the facility.
metered, the water coming in on the
Yeah, so we different meters for the
sanitary
industrial
side.
and municipal.
Okay, so,
Right.
yeah,
Right.
yes,
Yeah, that's what I think you're
okay,
asking.
yes, so
Dan,
there's
yeah,
a
they'll
municipal
be
meter
metered,
and
the
then-
water coming in for the sanitary use versus the water going in for true industrial production.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
understood, yeah.
Okay. Starting point. So this project is not new, as you all know. It started really back in the early 21, 22. First item of this project was the White Pine Pump Station, which we broke ground in 2025 spring, and we're estimating completion by summer of 2026. So to talk a little bit about the process of the project, so we are doing a design build process. We were able to use design build as the Governor Hochul had in her budget back in the spring of 2025. Oak Orchard was giving a design build amendment. So because of design build, we have a little bit more flexibility about how we go out to the vendor community, how we go through an RFP process. The other thing that we are favorable about the design build process is that obviously we will have partnership, there'll be a PLA with our labor partners and working on participation for MWBE and service disabled veteran-owned businesses. So that is a real positive to this project, and our county MWBE office is already working with small companies in the area in both categories. So this project really is about 5 components that we'll go through in a minute, and we talk about them in components because of sequencing. The need to think about the timing of how we go through each component of the project out on the Oak Orchard camp. And I think we highlight that point because the plant continues to operate and will continue to operate through the expansion. We still have to provide capacity for the area out there now and growth that is already starting and will continue to go on in the area. So the project segments are as follows. So the first thing we will do, we'll build a substation. We need to update and increase power, both gas and electric, into the campus. We will put in a new outfall pipe. So that's the pipe for the flow that'll be discharged out from the facility. That needs to be upgraded. Obviously, a lot more capacity going through it. The next component will be what we call a bridging project. The bridging project will actually give additional capacity to the area and to the plan as we start to work on the upgrade. So if you think about it, it's like the temporary bandage or Band-Aid, I guess that's a better word, that allows the plant to take on increased capacity as we're working on the expansion. It's also important, the bridging project, because the lagoons, there's 2 lagoons on the campus, they will be taken out of commission. The first one will be taken out, obviously we need the space, and the second one also. They will be part of our mitigation plan that goes into our wetlands permit, and we will make up for those removal of the lagoons.
I think you said was it a 2-to-1 or?
It's about 2-to-1. In some cases, in one, I think we're even up to almost 3-to-1. Yeah. And then the biggest part of the project, the biggest component is the upgrades. And that's where we really look at where the infrastructure really gets improved for the region and for our residents and our ratepayers. So that's where we will upgrade and improve the headworks. We'll improve the clarifiers, which is the liquids processing. the membrane system, and then the biosolid system. So those are the areas that really are the true guts of the wastewater system and the biggest part of the project. And then last but not least, we will do a reclaim water project. That'll be the last component of the project. So talking a little bit about timeline on the project. So because we are in design build process, we will first go out to the vendor community with a request for qualifications, which is required for design build projects. We are hoping to get those out late 2025, thinking even early 2026. So that lets the vendor community look at the project, and then they will respond with what's called their statement of qualifications, which really gives us an idea of their capabilities, their financial capability, and the capacity to do these types of projects. Based on submitting those SOQs, we will do a review period, and then what will be the results of that review period will be a short list. So the short list is really the list of qualified companies after they go through a review for capabilities. And then after that, based on that short list, request for proposal will be released for those qualified companies to respond to the RFP. And we're hoping by summer of 2026, we'll be able to award RFPs on the project. So I won't say it's an aggressive schedule, but it is a timely schedule. And then last component of the schedule, we'll start to clear land out there for the wastewater, the municipal wastewater part, late 2026, early 2027. Because as everybody knows, there's a very finite window you can clear land out there to be protective of some of the wildlife. So that's really the project. Again, I can't stress enough, this is needed capacity. We have been meeting and have requests from developers about understanding capacity out there for the sewer system, for their development, a lot of housing development. So this is demand we know is coming and is already there.
Yeah, the town of Clay surpassed 60,000 in population as of the most recent census, so it's
Wow.
been a growing community, obviously, and
Oh my gosh.
the best is yet to come.
Yeah.
But I'd like to recognize the chair.
Sure.
Sorry, my other job. I didn't want to hold anybody up, so thank you for stepping in. Can I ask a question? So, one of the things we had talked about was the PLAs, the project labor agreements. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure.
And as it pertains to our workforce and really promoting local, with regards to our unions. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Julian. I forgot that part. So because of the design build process, when we talked about working closely with our labor partners, part of the project, it is required in design build is to have a PLA, which is a project labor agreement. So that will be part of that as we design and get ready to go out to marketplace for the project components. Yep. And that's where also to reiterate, working with our M's and our W's, small company, and our service disabled veteran-owned businesses, which is important to us. So we're feeling very positive that, again, our office in the county has been doing a lot of proactive work, reaching out in the community, working with small businesses to help them get ready.
So one of the other things that you and I kind of touched on was part of that for some of these organizations are having apprenticeship programs.
Yeah, absolutely.
And especially with the workforce we're trying to develop, you're anticipating, you had said, so that some of them will come with apprentice language.
Yeah,
so in and out of the unions.
Yeah, I don't want to speak for the
Right.
unions or others, but I know some of the, especially the veteran-owned businesses we've talked to have incorporated apprenticeship or intern program. And I think, this is an opportunity, especially with our trade partners, where their apprentice programs can really, it opens up great opportunity.
Appreciate you guys honing in on that.
And
Thanks.
county executives very supportive of that.
Can you speak to the life cycle of the, like, once we're done, how long this one will be as opposed to how long we've had the other one? We spoke about this.
Well, no, I won't be here. I guarantee you that, but, you know, the existing plant is 44 years old. In this day and age, we're looking 50 years, 60 years down the road, you know, updated technology, which will, I think, be very important in terms of efficiency of the plant.
Yeah, it's a big point of emphasis for me, just in that this is a long-term investment.
Absolutely.
And it's not seen that way, but it really is. This is something we're gonna have in the community for a little bit.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And in a growing area of the community, which is really important.
Well, and some of the things, like getting rid of the lagoons, there's better technology. Will be a better, I believe, from what the data you guys have given me, efficiency with regards to upgrading our wastewater systems. So there's a benefit from that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. The technology that's available today helps us not only to, I think, take better ways that we treat our wastewater, but also, again, the efficiency on the plant. The plants last longer. And, you know, in terms of the web team that has to run the plants.
I'm glad that you mentioned the importance of sequencing and how we prioritize everything that we've got going on at that plant. One thing that I'd like to reemphasize is that this will all be occurring on the existing footprint of the property, correct?
Yes, so the campus will stay, you know, the same. We are just going to upgrade this municipal plant, but then we will incorporate the industrial plant facility on the same site. Yeah, so we really are getting even more efficient with the land and the space. Yeah.
And in terms of the timeline, from what we discussed, the plan is to have the municipal work, I think, more or less almost done by the time that first fab is operational. And then by the time phase one is complete, where both fabs are operational, our municipal work will be complete. Is that right?
That's about right. Yeah. Give or take.
Sure.
And again, this project here is really strictly, except for that one component, when we talk about sanitary waste, is a municipal project. Yeah.
Could you speak to the plan for follow-up with the legislature about all the work that's going on, the progress that's being made, and how we all stay on top of everything?
Yeah, so one of the things we've talked about, and I think it's a good one, you know, how can we make sure we're timely in our updates back about the project and the progress of the project? So I think that's a good idea, and I think that's now on our list, our to-do list, to make sure we get back with timely updates of where the project is as the next sequence comes, as it starts, and as components are finished. So I think that's a good idea, and we'd be happy to do that.
Do you want me to take it? Are you taking it?
Legislator May?
Thank you. Thanks for delivering the content that we've all been discussing a little bit over the past few days. I appreciate that. Cody, thanks for bringing up the oversight piece. That's obviously going to be important. I think for this body, one of the things that's important to the folks that we work with, deal with, serve every day, is to make sure we're able to represent kind of the whole enchilada, right? The greater context. And I think while it's not germane to today, I found it really relevant in our recent discussions to talk about, just from a sketch standpoint, the model, the planning, and what the basis for that is for the industrial piece, the industrial pretreatment piece. And I think that'll enable a lot of us to be able to, you know, go back to our constituents and say, no, here's the plan. There's a good plan. It's tried and tested. You know, so maybe you could just cover a little bit of that.
Thank you. Thanks for the question. I don't want to get too far ahead, because I think one of the things you always hear from us about the industrial is It's still in work under review.
Yeah, totally understood. Totally
Yeah.
understood. Just discuss.
But I think what's important, and certainly as we are working on this project, and everybody's working very hard, is a couple of things. Number one, we're working with a tremendous partner in Micron. They have been extremely receptive and helpful. We're all trying to learn at the same time. This is their first venture in New York State, so you can imagine new for them. We're all very sensitive, and the county executive has made it very clear that we need to be very thoughtful and really learn and put together a plan for a facility that'll be highly efficient and will be able to meet the needs of our single user, which is Micron, out there, but can also be efficient and effective on this site, which is Oak Orchard campus. So a couple of things we're doing. We've been working and trying to learn best practices from other areas and facilities in the semiconductor sector around the country. We have learned, and we continue to discuss with Micron. They've shared information from some of their other plants, which has been helpful for us. We want to make sure, as we continue down this road, that we're very clear that we're following the guidelines as set by New York State, working closely with the DEC on that. They've been tremendous partners to us. But also, at the end of the day, WEP will set the permit for Micron in terms of how flow comes in, how flows goes out, and that really is a partnership. And so we hope to report back. Originally, I think the county executive briefed early mid-fall. I think we'll probably be late fall, early spring, and getting that first review out to everybody to brief. But I think we all feel confident. I think the county executive feels confident that a lot of work and time has been put in, so we're going to bring a pretty thoughtful, responsible plan to you.
Yeah.
And again, for a single user. Yeah.
And you're right, and I think that's
Important to emphasize that WEP and the county understands that. Clearly, based on your experience so far, Micron understands that. The fact that you're basing things on best practice, and we're not going to try to reinvent a wheel that doesn't need to be reinvented when it's very complex and unprecedented in most other industries, it is a good thing. So,
Partners, I have to say that, you know,
yeah.
we've pushed for a lot of information and input, and they've just been phenomenal.
And then, you know,
I think most here understand, but can you just explain what a single user is and what that means from a business standpoint?
Sure. So this industrial treatment facility, as we call it, a significant single user, because obviously we're working closely with one user, one customer, which is Micron. So that's how we talk about the plant is being structured for a single user, but it's really about the industrial process. The plant has to be able to accommodate and function for the Micron fabs. So that's how we use the term significant single user. So that's important at this point. And that's why, and I appreciate the question, Brian, that, you know, we need to really hear from them what their needs are, and then we need to be able to take that back and what's best for the facility, for the county and our residents, and make sure that we all meet the guidelines set.
Thank you.
Which is item 1B, which we're going to talk about.
Yeah, so that
So
leads
that's
to
a good
1B,
precursor,
yeah.
Okay, does anybody have anything else? So can I get a motion for item 1A, which is simply calling for a public hearing on what we talked about, proposed improvements on the commercial side, and then we'll get to that single user industrial Micron stuff.
So moved.
Thank you. Legislator Brown, anything else?
Second.
Legislator Romeo, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion 1A carries. So item 1B is what we were just talking about, which is creating and establishing, allowing WEP, Water Environment Protection, you guys to create and establish a single-use district, which allows you to segment it and almost separate it and start coming up with your plans of how you're going to proceed with this. So can you talk just a little bit about that?
Sure, so, and I'm gonna,
It's protocol, it's like an official thing that has to happen.
yeah, and this again, this component here that we're getting ready to talk about, which is establishing a special district, this again is a component of, I think, a lot of hard work and analysis and research. So as we talk about the single user coming in and how we have set up this relationship and provide this service to them, a special district will be established that in effect, and Christy, correct me because I don't want to minimize using this term, but it's almost like an accounting unit, that we truly will have one component, that district, that Oak Orchard Industrial District, will be able to be the recorder and the receiver in terms of expense and revenue as we think about it for the industrial treatment plant. Is that correct?
That is correct, yep. So
Okay.
similar in nature to what we have with our drainage districts. If
Yeah.
you want to think about it in that way, it subsets it, so all the costs are contained, it has to sell balance, and all those fees will be based on the industrial rates that are developed in the industrial use.
I think that's very important that we,
Oh, yeah.
Separate it out, yeah.
Peter May's point, and you made the point, how do we weigh the needs of our residents and make sure
Oh,
that,
absolutely.
the costs end up where they should.
Yeah, I think there's a loud and clear message from everybody, from working with you all, who've been very supportive, from the county executive. And I would tell you, Mike Wren, too, we want to make sure that there is fair and clear accountability and accounting on these two facilities.
So random, I just always am a very visual person, so you may not have an answer for this, but I'm just trying to figure out how this is set up. Will there be like a separate group that just oversees the industrial side of this new district, or is it just, how does that work? I'm sorry, I'm just trying to.
From the operation part?
Yeah, like when you're separating out rates, or is it just?
Oh, from function.
Yeah, for functions.
Yeah, it's definitely two different functions,
Okay.
because the industrial side will work differently operationally
Okay.
than the municipal side. Very similar parts of it. Obviously, we haven't even gotten the road talking
Right.
about teams and operation, but
It's standalone, it's literally this
they're
own.
both gonna,
Yeah,
exist
okay.
right on this footprint, right on the
Right.
campus. Some of the parts are very much distinct, so it's a very interesting and very efficient plotting out of all the different components of both facilities on that land. Yeah.
We appreciate that.
Yeah.
Coexist.
Yeah, go ahead, you got something? No?
Coexist on the same.
Yes,
Coexist.
coexist,
Okay, good word.
like a marriage.
Or not. I couldn't resist. Okay.
If there's additional industrial users in the future, can they join?
I would think I would say yes, and Christy's here to answer that. Truly industrial.
Yes, so it depends on boundaries of the industrial district, obviously, and that's something that's being worked on in terms of what that looks like.
But that is being contemplated when we're looking at the industrial district of what that overlay looks like and whether future supply chain companies would then be able to tap into that as well. But yes, it certainly could include future supply chain companies and industrial users.
What I'm thinking about right now is industrial users of the past around here. Did we have any industrial treatment previously? Where was that? What happened to that? I don't know, it's just something that came up.
So we do have.
I was gonna say.
So we do have what we call industrial in the municipal that feeds into our normal wastewater. There are
Additional industrial surcharges. In fact, in the budget, you guys actually reviewed those fees this year based on the actual costs for that. So it's based on what they put into the system and the ranges of that, there are additional fee charges. This Micron project is so much more in terms of the output that is so much higher than what our traditional standards are. That is why we're pushing towards an industrial treatment plant. But we do have industrial users in our normal wastewater treatment plant, and there are surcharges based on that. But it's the size and scope that is really leaning us towards this new industrial project. No, Dean, please correct me if I'm wrong, because I could certainly be wrong in some of the technical aspects. I'm going to stay on my side of the house and the money.
Yeah, you're spot on there. So essentially, the industries that we have now, WEP gives them permits, right? And they're permitted to, specific standards that allows us to then take it into our municipal plants, right? So the Micron side or the industrial treatment side, the ITT side, will be solely for Micron because they're so large. So all the other industries that we have coming in, we apply specific limits that allows our municipal plants to be able to take in those loads and push it through.
And it's about what they have to treat before they release.
Correct. They're all pre-treated at their site. And then what they put in gets pre-treated, then it gets sent to the pipes, which then sends over to our plants, and then we treat it continually until we're able to bring it to our limits from the DC.
And I feel like for as long as I've been here, I've seen you guys really start to audit and right size who's paying their share of what. And as a representative of our taxpayer dollars, I appreciate the audits, or however you call them, that have come in more frequently, I feel like, which is a good thing.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right.
Let them pay for usage, so,
Right.
Anything else? You good?
Yeah, thank you.
Does anybody else have anything? Can I get a motion for item 1B to designate WEP as the responsible agency for establishing that industrial wastewater district?
I'll move it.
Thank you. Cody Kelly, second.
Second.
Okay, Dan Romeo, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you all. Really appreciate it.
That helps with the bubble.
Yeah, they've been great help. It's interesting.